non-free.
And yeah. And welcome to Linda, Karen, Jeannie, Gary, Stephen, Jessica. There are
Thank you.
somebody else too. Um, so yeah, just really glad to see you all. And I think I'm going to go, I will get started. So I'm just going to try and pay attention to as more people come on. Even though when I do open, I like to close my eyes when I'm saying the prayer and the blessing. So I'm going to go ahead and just welcome you and welcome to the Healer Circle. So glad that you have chosen to join us. And we meet twice a month. It's a fairly new movement, but our purpose is continuing education in spiritual, intuitive, and healing development. But really, what we are is a love based community, and we are a supportive community, and we believe or practice miracle consciousness. Facilitate sacred energy transmissions, and we share our healing wisdom with one another too. And so, what I love about this group and experience together is that it's much more interactive. So, in terms of you are a participant in it as well. But I did promise that I would periodically bring in other healers and beautiful beings that I know and that I work with. And so I invited GaryNiki to be here with us tonight. I will tell you a little bit more about him, but I really, because this is Earth Day, I really wanted to just say a little prayer, acknowledge Mother Earth. So if you'll join with me in that right now. So we are so grateful right now for um, our beautiful bodies, our sacred bodies, for the planet Earth, for our beautiful solar system, universe, galaxy, and beyond. We are so grateful right now for this planet that is just this most amazing blue green planet, this most amazing expression of prolific life everywhere, and that we are this life, that we are one with Mother Nature, we are one with Mother Earth, that we know and feel and understand that Mother Earth, this beautiful planet, this that she who holds and cradles us into existence and all life into existence. She's providing the food, the air, the sustenance that we need, the very shelter, clothing, even like everything from her incredible animals and trees and bushes and flowers and plants and bees. Just, it's the most amazing, beautiful, creative um, ecosystem and beyond, and that we are so much a part of that, that the very presence of the waters and the oceans and the streams is our blood, the moisture in us, in our eyes, the water of our own cells and our own body, that the earth, the dirt, the mountains are just part of our skin and bones and hair and teeth, and that the beautiful air is just so amazing. We're so integrated with air, the sacred breath of life within us as well, the fire energy, the warmth of our body, and the electrical light aspects, the our heart energy, and the light that is emitted. Anytime cells join and released, anytime cells separate, there's light, and then the light of the synapses, and the light of our being, our spiritual, eternal light and presence. And I could just go on and on, but I really want us to just, in the quiet, in the silence, take a moment to just be with the beauty of Mother Earth right now, in whatever way that you might want to imagine or kiss the earth, or just write your prayers of gratitude and honor and blessings upon the earth, just in your own way right now. give thanks and gratitude and bond with Mother Earth and Mother Nature in a more powerful, loving, strong way. So we offer up our prayers, and we are again so, so grateful and to be gathered together in this sacred way. Um, okay. I saw Kimberly and then she disappeared, so I hope she'll come back on. I'll text her. But thank you all again for being here with us. And I want to introduce Gary. So GaryNiki is a personal friend. I am very delighted to have him here with us. He, when I was at Unity Church of Sun Lakes, he would come and present sometimes. And Jeannie is the new minister who took over Gary. She's with us tonight. I hope that's okay, Jeannie, for me to share. I can't take it back now, but thank you. So he is a shamanic samurai medicine man and retired from the National Disaster Emergency Management and Public Safety. Author of Do It Yourself Zen and the Art of Gentle Emotional Transformation. And I'm sure he'll probably share his book. It's right behind him, or a little bit about it. And he also makes and shares heart dollar gratitude and abundance blessings. So he folds in origami these beautiful dollar bills in heart shapes with flowers, and presents them to people. So the times I've been out in public or sharing a meal with Gary, he's usually busy folding a flower to give to the waitress or wait person and share with them. And he has a blessing that he shares too. So Gary, I am so grateful that you're here. And one of the things I really wanted him to share with us is he has this technique. It's called Put Your Fingers on Your Forehead. And he shared it when he was in Red Cross management with volunteers as a way to help people in trauma. People have just experienced trauma and upheaval. And so he's just going to share that and maybe a couple other simple tools. But the one thing you'll learn right away about Gary is he's a storyteller and he loves to share. And he'll probably share some Tony with us, maybe didgeridoo. He invented his own little didgeridoo instrument, which is fabulous. So Gary, I am so delighted to welcome you and thank you for being here with us. And I'll put myself on mute.
Thank you very much. I just love Dr. Reverend Debbie. She's so amazing. And Steve too, what a great guy. It was fantastic being over at the Unity of Sun Lakes in Arizona and toning and being with the great parishioners over there and everyone. It's such a great place. So I always love doing that. And just want to say thank you so much for allowing me to be here. Yes, my book, D.I.Y. Zen and the Art of Gentle Emotional Transformation, finally published after 22 years. And so it's out on Amazon and on barnesandnoble.com and things like that. But it's one of those things where it's about basically two simple techniques, well, three techniques, but two of the simple ones. One of them is about putting your fingers on your forehead. And that's something that's natural and comes around. And I learned this back in 1996 with a lady named Virginia Dunstone. And so it was really powerful. And then over the years, I started using it with public safety and then disaster work with people that have been in car crashes, assaults, disasters and everything. I used it during Y2K in Arizona. We were dealing with the Y2K preparedness. People were upset and scared. So I would tell them about the fingers on the forehead. And then also in 9/11, when I was on the ground in October, worked with a lot of folks, and Red Cross back then was not into anything other than direct mental health and stuff like that for any type of trauma. So what I would do is I would share it with people and colleagues and friends, and ended up sharing it with police officers and Red Cross people, FEMA people. I've been an adjunct faculty member for Arizona Division of Emergency Management and the Federal Emergency Management Agency as a national disaster instructor trainer also. And so a lot of the work that I was able to do, I traveled all over the US and was able to work with folks dealing with safety and security. And so I would sneak it in and show it to them. And I also, for the last 16 years, have been working with anger management folks in the DC metro area, Virginia, DC, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina. People would come to the class. And so on week 4 of 5 weeks, I would show them about put your fingers on your forehead. And what it is, it's so simple, because when we go through traumas, the first time I used it was at a car crash, and this lady was in the car and other people were getting out. And so I walked up to the window and I said, excuse me, ma'am, are you okay? And she's like, it's like, okay. I looked at her, I said, okay, are you able to get out of the car? And she's like, yes. And she's crying really bad. And I said, okay, why don't you sit down here on the curb where it's safe? I got to take care of traffic. And just put your fingers on your forehead. It's okay to cry. And so she, like that. So as I'm getting traffic going and waiting for the other public safety people, traffic, fire, AMBO, and tow trucks. So she's there, and I'm kind of keeping an eye on her. About 5 minutes goes by, and she stops, and she wipes her eyes, and she's sitting there. So then other deputies showed up, and I said, hey, come take over traffic. And I went up to her, and I said, what happened? And she goes, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this. What in the world happened? And I said, that's okay. Are you okay to talk to the accident investigator? And she's like, yeah. So she talks to the accident investigator. This happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. And then she turns around and looks at me and she goes, and I just go like that. And she says, she finished with him, and then she comes back to me. And by then there's tow trucks and everything. And so she said, what is this? And I didn't have time to talk to her or explain. I said, it's just a Oriental thing. Because, I'm 3/4 Japanese, 1/4 Mexican, so I could get away with that. And she goes, oh, okay. And she stopped, and she's very astute. So she stopped, turned around, came back. She goes, will this work on other things? And I said, it has for me. And so she sat on the bus bench there, and I was watching her, and about 5 or 6 times she cry, stop, wipe her face and look around, and then do it again, and then look around and do it again. And then she, by the time she was ready to go, tow truck came and her ride came. She's like, thank you, bye. And it's like, wait a minute, aren't you the one where your car was almost totaled? And it just blew my mind. I thought, I got to remember this. And then so over the years, I started sharing it with people. And then 9/11, Y2K preparedness, 9/11 happened. And then during Katrina, I moved to DC in 2002 and was head of safety, security, weapons of mass destruction, terrorism for the US and the territories for National Red Cross. And so I spent September through November on the ground in Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama. And so my team, there was more devastation there than I'd ever seen in my life. And, disaster workers and responders are good at sucking it up and putting the feelings on the shelf and then doing the job. But they would say, hey, boss, how are you so upbeat and smiling and stuff? And during 9/11, I was called the happy trainer. And so they're like, how can you be smiling and stuff? Well, I told them about the fingers on the forehead. And so they started doing it. And I said, this is something that is so natural, we could just do it by design. And so when you put your fingers on your forehead and you feel something that's bothering you, I tell people, just, run it through 3 times like a video, start to finish. Or I tell people now, just leave your fingers on your forehead as long as it's bothering you. If something's bothering you, just, or, I said, if you're in a situation like during Katrina, there were like no infrastructure. So porta potties and stuff. I said, go in there, close the door, go in the bathroom or porta potty, close the door, put the lid down, sit down, put your fingers on your forehead and just feel whatever emotions you're feeling. It's okay. And I said, if you want to scream, do the silent scream, you know, the one like this, you know, without making any noise. And then it worked really well. So then later on, when I got the prototype book, Dr. Patricia Carrington ended up writing the forwards for the book in the workbook. So in the book, it's got a 33-day workbook in there. The other thing that I talk to people about is muscle testing. And I like to do the simple muscle testing, just like this.
Gary?
And so, yes.
Okay, there. Yeah. Can I just ask you, like, can you just say a few words like why it works or how it works or like, you know, anything about timing maybe, or just like, if we were to use this,
What you do is when you have somebody who is going through, I like it because what I did was I took the stuff that I learned from Virginia Dunstone, and her teacher was Dr. Roger Callahan from Thought Field Therapy. And what I did was I narrowed it down to what is the least amount that you could do to get results. And after working with thousands of people, I found that by simply putting your fingers on your forehead and feeling the emotions, crying, being upset, doing the silent scream, whatever's bothering you, it works. And so I used it with all kinds of people from 5 years old to 95 years old, every socioeconomic uh, type of person, rich people, poor people, homeless, school teachers, professors, psychologists, psychiatrists, everybody. And so Dr. Patricia Carrington, who is a guru in emotional freedom techniques, she passed on last year before the book was finished, but she or published, but she wrote the forwards to it, and she loved it because it was so simple. She could get it for have her clients just put their fingers like this, and she said that they don't have to tap or anything. They just put their fingers here, and if somebody comes up and say, hey, what's going on, she would tell them, hey, leave me alone, I got a headache, you know. And that way they didn't have to say, oh, I'm upset because of my boss or my wife, my husband, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, my kids, my grandkids, my grandparents. You don't have to tell anybody. You just, it's secret therapy. And you can put your fingers on your forehead and just put the fingers on the forehead until it stops. And so I tell people what I like to do is just do it, you know, 3, 4, 5 minutes and then stop, you know, when the situation leaves, and then you're able to uh, assess. And then if everything's fine, go ahead and stop. But then if it's bothering you again, just put your fingers on your forehead, just like the lady in the car crash did. And so you could also validate by doing simple muscle testing. So if you have something that's bothering me, like this, think about the car crash, and then it weakens you. So then you put your fingers on your forehead, play it through, play it through, play it through, and then you can muscle test and think about the car crash, and then it's strong. So I've used it with all kinds of people from every type of situation that's occurred. Yes, Reverend.
They use it for if you have a if you're really tired. You know how sometimes it's this time of the day, I'm exhausted after work, but I don't want to be. Can you use it for those kinds of situations?
You know, a lot of times people, you know, people have done it for everything. And what they say is a lot of times they're stressed out from work, you know, after work and stuff. And so they say they'll just sit there and put their fingers on their forehead and think about what happened during the day. Cause it's like, oh my goodness, you know, I'm overwhelmed by all this stuff or this things going on. And they'll just put their fingers on their forehead and do that. And then they stop and they're like, oh, I feel better. And it's like, amazing. You know, even in the book, people have asked about, well, how does it work? And I say, you know, I really don't know all the scientific, all the magic stuff. What I do know is that it's natural. So even if, you know, depending upon what your belief is, if you have caveman ancestors or whatever, you know, this is a natural thing. Because haven't you seen people like if the dinosaur eats the person's friend, what happens? Like, oh, like this. And it's like, I don't think anybody said, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Caveman, when the dinosaur eats your friend or your spouse and you're upset, stop and put your fingers or your palms on your forehead and breathe and you'll be okay. But you know, in the Godfather 3 movie, one of the best um, pieces of put your fingers on your forehead is when uh, um, the Godfather's daughter is shot and you see him and he brings his hands up to his head and he's doing the silent scream because the music is playing, but he's like, and then all of a sudden you hear, ah, and so what it is, it's natural. And so during 9/11, when I was in New York, I saw tons of people at the different facilities and centers when they would find out about their family members when they were confirmed dead or stuff. I saw people literally fall to their knees, you know, if they were standing up or something, or, you know, and just crying and, oh God, oh Jesus, oh my God, oh, you know, like this. And over the years, you think about it, we see people on TV, we've seen them put their fingers on their forehead. What we're doing is we're doing it by design. And that's what it talks about in the book, is simply when you're going through stress, put your fingers on your forehead. And it's non-invasive. It's not doing anything to somebody. They're able to do it for themselves, you know. And then we could also help people. In the book, I have a picture. I've got my fingers on a friend of mine's forehead, but I've also done it on dogs, and dogs love it too, you know, who've been through trauma and stuff. So you know, got my hands on the dog's head, you know, both ways. And, you know, it seems like it's calm them down. So it's something very simple. And then with the simple use of muscle testing afterward is to feel, okay, thinking about the car crash, well, now I'm strong. But go back in time before before you did the clearing, and then it's weak. And then you come back and then it's strong. So it's something that's very simple that could help people in an emergency type situation. And so that's in the book. The other one is the Art of Gentle Emotional Transformation, and that's a longer process. And then it's got the 33-day workbook in the book. And in the back, I have two lists. One is the awful, distressing stuff list, and the other one is the positivity empowerment list. And the list is not all, but a lot of things that people that I've worked with over the years have cleared out. And so when I've worked with people, and I'm a practitioner of emotion code and a bunch of different modalities and different types of things also. And what I found is that sometimes I would get to a place where I couldn't guess. I'm a good guesser. And, you know, I couldn't figure out what it was. And I got that there were two more emotions that were stuck with this person using my techniques. And so we went through and she looked through the prototype book, and then all of a sudden she found two of the things that were on there. And she's like, oh my God, oh my God. It's like, well, what is it? And this lady was a Fed, a black belt in martial arts, very tough, strong and everything. And she said, I can't say it. And I thought she was kidding, you know, because we'd finished with the motion code. We were using my techniques, and she's like, I can't say it. And I laughed. I thought, oh, I said, oh, no, seriously. And she goes, no, seriously, I can't. I said, okay, put your finger on it and I'll muscle test you. And I muscle tested her. Whew, weak, you know, feel the energy. And then I said, this is it, rock solid, strong. And so these were two things that haunted her from 6 years old as a child. And so we were able to clear those out, and she was released from it. So you never know how it'll help people. But the two simplest things that people could do is, one, realize that something is upsetting them and bothering them. And the second part is to immediately stop, sit down, put their fingers on their forehead. And it's something that I've used in the field a lot, and I've used it with thousands of people all over the place. In fact, I even talk to people on the phone and walk them through it. So it's something very simple that you and your clients can use, because it's something available to them anytime.
Thank you.
The other thing that I wanted to tell you about the heart dollar. This is called the heart dollar, gratitude and abundance blessing. And I first learned about it in 2002 when I moved to DC from Arizona. for the job. And the lady that made it for me taught me. And since then, I've made over 12,000 of them. They're all over the world. And I have a Facebook page. It's called the Heart Dollar Gratitude and Abundance Blessing Circle. And I've got videos on how to make them. And people make them from all over the world. In fact, a school teacher that I met in 2018 at a Greg Braden event, and Greg has heart dollars too. A lot of people have heart dollars. And so what it is, it's called a gratitude, heart dollar gratitude and abundance blessing. And when I meet someone nice of service, I tell them, I'm happy to make one for you. I like to share it with them, and it's a real dollar, and it's made for you with love, light, peace, power, and blessing for health, wealth, abundance, prosperity, and perfect self-expression. I say thank you and bless you and share it with them. And since I've been on Zoom, tons of Zoom calls, what I do is I share it with the folks. And what I'll do is I'll post my my text phone number and my text message number and email. And if you would like one, I would be happy to make one for you and send it to you. I've made them and send them all over the world, you know, and it's amazing how people will find them and they'll make them. And a teacher, one of the school teachers, she's actually the co-administrator on the website or the Facebook page. She and her students in 2018, they made over 500 heart dollars. And so people make them, and like Reverend Debbie and Steve, they've been blessed thousands of times since they got theirs. So, you know, people just keep making them and do blessings. So that's one of the things. So if you'd like to contact me and text me with your name and then U.S. postal mailing address, that's what I send them out. I send them out. In fact, I met a couple of people from Canada and stuff, and so now I'm sending out I even have international stamps, so I could send them out to them. But those are the two main things. And the book is, again, DIY Zen and the Art of Gentle Emotional Transformation. And in the chat, I posted my information and then the thing about the book. And let's see, it's 7:30. So Reverend Debbie, I don't know how much time we have, but I'd like to do a vocal vibrational toning and clearing circle for all of us, since this is Earth Day and we like to express our gratitude to Mother Earth and be able to bring through any clearing or any of the stuff that comes through. I know some of you are reverends and healers and things like that. And I know I have an etheric list of thousands of people that say, hey, will you pray for me? Will you bless me? You know, I'm a priest, a minister, a licensed pastoral provider, and a shamanic practitioner, and a oneness blessing giver and a oneness meditator. So I include people in all kinds of those things, but I love doing the drumming and toning to be able to release the stuck things. And so if somebody has asked you, you know, will you pray for me? Will you bless me? Will you put me in those circles? We could do that right now and to be able to do it for the group. Is that all right with you, Reverend Debbie?
Yes, Gary, it's just fine to do it. And then as far as what I want to share, Gary's toning, just if you're not real familiar with toning, he does it in the Buddhist monk style. So he's very naturally, in the Buddhist monk style, they're very deep. If you've ever heard it, they almost sound like frogs, bullfrogs. And so it tends to be very deep. It's very masculine. And it's a wonderful expression of toning, etc. And he also does it in a way, well, sometimes you'll hear animals in there. It's just like in a way that kind of invites us to maybe connect with our more primal nature, our animal nature, and I think encourage us to release emotionally. So I think maybe Gary's one of his gifts, or I hope, is that he kind of connects with each one of us. And Gary, I don't know what kind of view you have, but I put us all on gallery view. you know, and just is
Right,
able,
I'm on gallery view too.
yeah, is able to really just, you know, connect with each one of us in some way and encourage us to release anything that might be blocking or stopping us from emotionally, you know, in our
Right.
emotional nature and body. And that is, Gary, you want to share about your instrument that you're
And oh,
holding?
this is the didgeridoo. This is called the Infinity Didge, and I made it with PVC pipes from Home Depot. And this is actually a C sharp for healing, because I have big long didgeridoos, but when I'd work on clients, they would have to hold it and move it around. Well, this one is short, and I'm able to um, work on the client. Now I'll introduce you. It has two voices, and I'm going to use it during the toning here. This is the first voice. That's the deep voice. And the other one is like a ram's horn. I've had shofar carriers in the Jewish faith blow the ram's horn on me, which was amazing. But because there's a lot of back pressure, this one has a trumpeting sound, like the ram's horn. So what I tell people is, if you've studied the Bible, read a Bible, seen a Bible on TV, and you've heard about the walls of Jericho coming down, think of that with any type of negative stuff. So if somebody says, would you pray for me? Would you bless me? Would you help me? Well, the first part of it, I will tell you. And when I do it on radio shows and in groups, I've done it from groups as small as, you know, a handful, one or so, or on the phone, and they can't see me, to groups of several thousand people. What I tell them is, if you can't see me and it sounds painful, don't worry, I don't feel any pain. It's the sounds of the collective. So it'll be all of us plus the collective of the folks that have asked for the prayers and Mother Earth. And so I will tell you that with all the stuff going on, there's going to be some painful sounding things. So don't worry about that. Feel free to bring out any tones that you want to, because it's very powerful. And when I was at Reverend Debbi's and Reverend Janine's church at Unity of Sun Lakes, I could tell you we had some really great sessions of being able to do toning for folks. And a lot of people remembered it. And then when I came back the next year or so, they would say, hey, you know what? That really helped shift some energy. So this is a perfect time. And I usually don't, I keep forgetting to say it, but I always put white light around all of us, so that if anything wants to escape and get out, it's not going to get on to you or anybody else. So it's completely surrounded by white light, violet flame, gold and silver light, rainbow light, a healing, abundance, prosperity, protection around all of us. And so anything that you want to release, or somebody that's asked you to release, please feel free to let it go. Okay?
Can I say
So,
one thing, Gary?
yes, please.
All right, you can put yourself on mute, and that way you won't worry about what weird sounds you might make or noises. You can take yourself off video, you know, but I encourage you, give yourself the freedom to, you know, join in some way of releasing and letting go. Okay?
Thank you, Reverend Debbie. Absolutely. And, you know, don't be shy, because this is the perfect time. You know, we're all shamanic. We're all healers. We're all leaders. And we're all folks that could help people around the planet, you know, in the universe and the multiverses. So please feel free. Bring those tones through, because, you know, anything. And we're also clearing through and for our ancestors. I see Reverend Selena's on via phone, telephone on the 204 number. But what I will tell you is, earlier we did a clearing with my niece, and it was extremely powerful, of clearing some ancestral things and everything, as she's starting to get into her training and to her energetic work. So just take a deep breath and we'll go ahead and start. Wow. Thank you all very much. That was really powerful.
Yeah.
Reverend Debbie or anyone, would you like to share what you felt or what you noticed?
I think Jeannie might. Jeannie, do you want to share?
Sure. I really got into that. I felt a lot of different emotions, and I put myself on video so I wasn't distracted because I started rocking and moving, and I started shouting and screaming and talking, you know, I get that. It really helped me move stuff out of my body, I think. Really cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's great. Yeah, and the more energetic and the more movement and the more stuff, the more powerful it goes. It's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the circle is open. If anyone on would like to share and or ask questions, please feel free. Hi, Kimberly.
Hi everyone. Hi Debbie. Can I share?
Yeah, I was going to say, please share.
Thank you so much, Gary. That was so powerful and it was so needed for me today. And like just this was so powerful. And when you were doing that, like my eyes were just, it was like a rushing river. Like, and I really don't even have like a story to tell you. I just felt myself spinning and I was like traveling to all the places, all the lands that I've ever had trauma. And then I was like, oh my God, I just had to go like this because I was listening to your thing. I was like, okay, I'm in fight or flight right now. And I was putting my hands like this and just, it was like a let go of so much water. I was like, this is like, I'm a human and I'm raining whatever this is out of me. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, thank you so much, Kimberly. That's beautiful. And, you know, it is wonderful to put your fingers on your forehead during the toning and things. Lots of people do that. So that's great. So thank you so much for sharing.
Gary, do you think it's part of like when you're touching that new human forehead, the one that where the brain is a heart centered? Do you think that like maybe that has something to do with it? This is the new human brain?
It could be, you know, there's so many things. And, you know, one of my favorite things, one thing that Dr. Reverend Debbie knows about me is I'm not afraid to say, I don't know, because there's so many things that I don't know. I just know the things that work. And, you know, what's amazing is as about putting the fingers on the forehead, I've heard so many different things. One person who is a 40-year speech pathologist who had a brain injury, she wrote a story in my book about how putting the fingers on the forehead helped her with her memory and recall. So, you know, I've heard so many different things from people, and when they say, you know, I feel this or whatever, I say yes, because there's so many things. And the other part is we're all shamanic too. You know, all of us are. We're all connected, and so when you get insights like that, please use them and please share them with folks, because one thing for sure, you can't go wrong with putting your fingers on your forehead and being able to use that and then share it with folks. So thank you for the insight. I like that.
Thank you so much.
And Kimberly, it's the frontal lobe. You know, it is the frontal lobe. And this is supposed to be where our like compassionate self and our wise self. It's the last kind of part of the brain that's developing in the teenagers, which like it controls our impulsivity too. It's like you know a healthy part of our brain, and I think of it oftentimes as like some of those higher qualities. So yeah, that was a great question.
I thought that was really beautiful. I even went and gotten one of my singing bowls and was using it at the same time. So thank you. And I felt a huge release of energy come out of me with that. That was very beautiful. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Linda. And thank you for bringing the bowls in. I love singing bowls, you know.
Yes.
Crystal, oh, beautiful crystal and Tibetan and all the ones. I love those. In fact, I even have my little Tibetan bell here. So, you
I
know,
like that.
I love that. When I drum, I hold the rattle and the beater and the little bell. So it gets like a triad of energies there. But thank you so much for including the bowl with us, because that's very powerful. Thank you.
Thank you. And a note on that, I did receive my 6 other bowls today.
Yay, congratulations.
Thank you. I bought the colored set and I can't wait to get them all out.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you.
Love it.
I just have to say that was so powerful and beautiful, and thank you so much. I at the beginning like just found myself like almost like feeling like I just wanted to close my eyes. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, so I just sort of like laid down and received, and I was just feeling so much like, even though the sounds like, you know, I was just feeling so much like heart-centered energy. It was just so, it was so beautiful. And actually, when I closed my eyes, I was seeing like Native American guides. So, you know, maybe inspired by the music, but I was, and it was really a beautiful thing to see. So thank you so much. This is really special.
Oh, thank you. You're most, is it Devon?
Devin.
Devin. Thank you, Devin. And, you know, that is so neat that you're seeing those things. I highly recommend that you all drum and rattle and connect with the spirits, because like I said, we're all shamanic. And when you have those connections, they're very powerful, especially when you're helping others with healing and clearing and stuff like that. It's not just, you know, the small human, it's all of us, the triad of us all connected together. And so thank you so much. Bless you.
Bless you.
This is Jessica. So when the song first came in, I felt I was attending a funeral.
Mhm.
And the funeral for a lot of sorrow and funeral for a lot of grieving. And then it's also a lot of like saying goodbye to even the pain in the body, like the ache in your body. I feel like they're like soul, like other spirit, like a soul in your body is causing the pain. And now it's feel like it's the funeral for those soul that are causing the ache from your body about leaving. That's why there is a funeral for them for leaving. And then later of the song, I saw like a blue sky, and same to me, like I felt like American Indian in the all white space waiting, like dancing next to the ocean, waiting for the salmon, like a prosperity to flow in. That is a letter of the like abundance, and they also have a lot of passage. So this whole the song is from very it brings different vibration. It's from like saying goodbye and welcome the abundant to come in. That's how I feel. It's like a roller coaster ride with the wave. I even had an image of the toilet, like you are flushing down a lot of negative energy, and then you are wide open with a bright space to bring in more to come.
Amen, Jessica. Thank you so much. That is a great awareness and description of it. I love that about the pain leaving, because a lot of times the painful sounds and everything from us and the collective is released, not only from us, but for our ancestors too, the generations, the pain, the suffering that they've gone through, and to be able to release that. And then when after the that part shifts, and then the new energy comes in, it is like bringing in that energy and the abundance and everything. So thank you so much for that awareness. Thank you.
Awesome.
Hi, Gary.
Hi, Karen.
Thank you so much. Gosh, you know what I felt was like electricity, was really kind of wild, just these different pulsating, you know, feelings throughout my body while you did that. And then I am so grateful for this technique because not only can I use it on myself, I can, you know, my daughter, my 17-year-old daughter who struggles with depression, and then my father who's had a stroke and his really, you know, his memory and his ability to talk. So I'm really excited about this. I think Debbie thinks I need this for myself. I know I do, but I'm excited to share this with other people as well and to get your book. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Karen. And I'm thrilled to hear that because, you know, I tell you, this is wonderful stuff, being able to put your fingers on your forehead. And in the book, I tell stories. When I was a kid, I grew up in Paradise Valley. So I was the only Japanese kid in Paradise Valley School District until my sister started first grade when I was in third. And it was, hey, Jap, remember Pearl Harbor? You know, and 4 or 5 big guys would beat me up and kick me on the floor and pee on me. And so I was terrorized until, you know, fourth grade, I kind of started to defend myself. I learned some empty hand techniques from family. And so then by 5th grade, I was able to break some parts, put them in the hospital, and they're like, maybe you better leave that Jap alone. But, you know, I was skinny. I looked like a good ad for a care package. You can't tell now. But back then I was skinny and small and, you know, terribly picked on, you know, last for sports and everything. And I would have loved to have known about being able to put your fingers on your forehead. And so when I've had chances to talk to high school kids and grade school kids, you know, at different friends' classrooms and things, and I show them about the put their fingers on their forehead, and then I show them about muscle testing, because the muscle testing I learned at 9 years old, and it's still, I'll be 59 April 29th. So 50 years later, it still blows my mind about how muscle testing strong weak works. And so I use that with the anger management folks, and then it blows their mind because they're not spiritual or anything. And some are like, Mr. Gary, is that voodoo? It's like, no, it's not. It's just muscle testing. But then what they learn is about putting their fingers on their forehead, and they realize that they could do something proactively to help them because of harassment, bullying, trauma, things that have happened to them, and they don't have to tell anybody what happened. It's like secret therapy, and it's free. All they have to do is do it, and then they're able to take care of themselves. So I wish I would have had that back when I was a kid. So thank you so much, Karen, and bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, is there someone else who wants to share? I saw Steve on, and then I think you said the 240 number is Selena?
Yes, Reverend Selena is on 240.
So maybe she'll want to share too. No. Well,
I don't know. She's on a telephone, Reverend Debbie, so you may have to unmute her.
Oh, well, yeah, I can only ask to unmute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Steve, did you want to say anything to Gary or share anything?
Can you hear me?
Oh, there she is. Yes, we
Well,
can hear you.
I'm not very good at talking on the telephones. I've worked with Gary for a long time, and all of these modalities, they really work. And I really, really love his toning. Every time I'm able to participate, his work is just a gift that keeps on giving. It's not like one time. It just keeps on giving, and I just appreciate him so much. And I also appreciate being able to be with all of you because there's something, when there's a gathering, that it's so much more than with just one or two people. And I really, really appreciate I love that prayer for our wonderful planet. And I know the planet is very appreciative also. So anyway, thanks for listening to me.
It's good to hear your voice, Selena.
Yeah, it's been a while since I saw you.
Oh.
Yeah, in 2012, Reverend Debbi came to Northern Virginia, DC area. We had a big group of folks that came. At that time, Terry and I had a office in Burke, and Reverend Debbi came and did a spiritual so it was really great. So thank you, Reverend Debbi.
That was fun. We did spiritual leadership. Yeah, becoming, what was the saying? Enlightened leaders of self. Yeah, but it was so fun. Thank you so much. Jeannie, did you have something you wanted to say?
I just wanted to ask a question. Gary, did you learn this from someone, Tony, or is this something you developed intuitively?
Well, it's interesting. When I grew up in Paradise Valley, Arizona, and so my dad was half Japanese, half Mexican, and so we'd go on the res a lot. We had a lot of friends that were Native Americans, so we'd go hang out on the res, and I was always thrilled by the grandpas and stuff, and the drumming and the chanting and the different things, and so and the drums. I love the drums and the rattles, and so it was one of those things where the grandpas would say, just, yell out and hoot and holler along with us, And so I'm like, rattling and drumming and stuff. And he's like, just, get on the big drum and, even if you don't have rhythm, you'll just catch up, And so he started doing that. And so I've always made some sort of sounds and things. And then in early 2000s, after I moved out here, I met a lady named Turtle, who is a shamanic teacher, and I went to some of her classes, and it was really great. And a buddy of mine, because by that time I had done thousands of journeys and worked on tons of people, and so it was great being in her class because I learned a whole lot of other things because she studied with Michael Harner, Sandra Ingerman, Betsy Bergstrom, and Mary Cordes, and I got all of them filtered through Turtle, who was a 30-year person that worked for Library of Congress, and she was so detail oriented about her training materials and everything, and I love notes, and so she had all that. But one of the guys was also, he did Lakota and Tibetan shamanism, and he was a Fed also, and so it was cool because we were the security clearance people, in the class. But he said, Gary, he says, you sound like these monks. And he said, I'm going to bring a CD for you because every time you start this toning and stuff, he says, it distracts me a little bit. He goes, not bad. He says, I have to open my eyes and look around to see where I'm at because he says, I keep thinking I'm back into, with the Tibetan folks, and I started laughing and he goes, no, seriously. And so the next weekend for class, he brought the Kyoto monks CD in, and he goes, I'm going to give it to you. And so Turtle put it into the CD player, and as soon as it came on, it was like boom. I was like, whoa, and I was just like, and she Turtle said, that sounds like Gary, and it's like, wow, that's really wild. And then in 2013, I went to Unity of Fairfax because I toned and spoke and did things at their church, and the loose-ling Tibetan monks came. And so they wanted me to do traffic control, you know, help parking, because they thought it would be a lot of people because of my background. I said, yeah, I'll go. No, hardly any cars showed up, you know, at first. And so they're like, well, don't worry about it. Just come on in and hang out and stay for the thing. So I'm there. And one of the ladies goes, hey, the monks sound like him. And I'm like, nah, it's not that way. And she goes, yeah, do your toning thing. And so we were right in the foyer area where they were collecting tickets and stuff. And there's maybe half a dozen or so ladies, and they're like, yeah, we want to hear it. We want to hear it. So I close my eyes, bring through the tones, and I open my eyes, and they're like, whoa, that sounds like the monks. And then another lady comes in, she goes, I heard that. Where's the monk? And he goes, no, it was Gary. And so she's like, oh, do it again. And I'm like, you know, because we're right there in the foyer of the church, and they're like, come on, do it again, do it again. So they go, nobody's here, just come on, do it again. So I close my eyes, I tone and everything. And this monk, you know, I open my eyes, and there's this monk, you know, he comes around the corner, and he's looking around. And so he's kind of looking back and forth, and I say hi to him, you know, hi. And he says hi, but I don't speak his language. He, you know, doesn't speak English. And then one of the ladies goes, it was him. It was him. And so he looks at me and he goes, and I said, the toning? And he goes, yes. And he says, he kept going like this. And I said, yes. And he goes, oh, I said, you want me to tone again? And he's like, yes. So I close my eyes, I bring through the tones. And when I come out and open my eyes, he's bowing. So I'm bowing, he's bowing. And the ladies are like, oh, that's so cool. And this guy comes around the corner, and he says something to the monk, and he goes, and he says it again. He's like, you know, and so he asked me, he says, was that you? And I said, yes. And he's like, oh, do it again. And so I look at the monk, and the monk is like, you know, so I close my eyes, do it again. And when I open my eyes, they're bowing. So we have a bow fest going, you know. And so he speaks to me. He goes, the monk speaks to him, and he says, he wants to know where you studied or learned. And I said, I didn't. And he says, how did you learn to do? I said, I did. And he goes, how do you do it? And I said, divine connection. I went like this. I went, divine connection. And even though he didn't say it to the monk got it. He turned and he bowed. And so anyway, and that brings us to the heart dollar. So I ended up making heart dollars for them, and I had brought it for them, and they were doing a fundraiser. And so afterward, they asked if I would stay and do a toning. And so that's on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. You could see all of us, and in our hands, we have the heart dollar. But so I didn't study anywhere officially. It just has come through. And I tell people, just like in Reverend Debbi's and now your church, Reverend Jeannie, is that everybody can tone. Bring through the tones, because it's a natural, God-given gift that we all have. And it makes a huge difference for us in clearing and bringing through and releasing and bringing in. So thank you all so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gary. Does anyone else have a question for Gary or something to ask?
I like to comment on the Tibetan chanting. I listen to that a lot, and that is very calming. I love listening to that. So is that what you were doing? It's the Om Mani Padme Hum. That's what I usually listen to.
Actually, you know what? I can do that, but what I like to do is I like to just bring through the tones. I tell people, close your eyes and breathe, and then just Oh, ah, eh, ah, wah, oh, ah, eh, oh, ah, eh,
All right,
just
thank
bring
you.
bring through them as they come. You can chant. You could do the Om. You don't have to. Just you could use a vowel that you like. E is good. E. Eh, oh, ooh. You could make it whatever you want
Okay.
because your body is so wonderfully made and brilliant that the tones that are right for you will come
Mhm.
through. And the one thing that I forgot to say this, but I say this as often as I can. People say, "Oh my God, I can't tone like you." I said, "Well, I don't sing like Pavarotti. I want to sound like Pavarotti, but it's like I don't. But you know what? He doesn't tone like I do, and none of you tone like each other. And the most powerful tones in the universe of the multiverse for you is
Or
the
what
tones that come from
come
the
out.
inside out of
That's right.
you.
They come out of me. Yeah, exactly. I was getting that. Thank you.
Absolutely. And so please bring through your tones because those are the most powerful and the most healing and the most transformational that you could get anywhere.
Right. The ones that need to come out.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. Thank
Thank
you.
you. And when you're doing it for somebody else, you're singing, toning, bringing it through for them, they'll connect with the energies that are so powerful, and it'll make a huge positive difference in your clients and your parishioners.
Right. And that because they will come in also.
And there's some of the best sounds right there. The canines.
Yep. All right, thank you. Was
Thank you, Gary.
someone else who had a question?
I just have a quick question. So I am a health coach, and I'm wondering if I can help teach. I've heard that it's really helpful to help teach your clients muscle testing for foods and supplements, and if there's a method that is best for that.
Well, you know what? I like simplicity. I'm an emotion code practitioner, and I met Dr. Brad. In fact, I wrote about him in my book in the muscle testing section. And, Dr. Brad talks about muscle testing, doing it simply, doing simple muscle testing. One, you want to make sure people drink water and they're hydrated. And then what I do is I do it the same way with everyone. I say, okay, my name is Gary. My name is Bob. I am male, I'm female, yes, no. And I do those 3 checks every single time so that I know that they're testable, because you want to make sure they're testable. If they're not testable, sometimes they have to drink some water because they're dehydrated, and so what you do is you just simply go through the muscle testing process with the person. In my book, I've got steps on how to do it. There's videos all over the internet and stuff. The one thing that Dr. Brad talked about is when you're doing the muscle testing, see the little bone right here on the wrist? If you're pushing on somebody, you don't want to push real hard, like that, because it's not a strength test. But you want to make sure you're ahead of that. You don't want to be on the hand part, but you want to be behind the bump on the bone right here on the wrist, and just simply a push, just like that. And I tell the people, it's not a strength test. It can be, which is really amazing, because Sensei, when I was 9 years old, he took the biggest guy in the class, who was a 6'5", about 6'4", 6'5", huge black guy, Marine, and the guy was huge. And so Sensei was small, and he could hang from the guy's arm and dangle his feet. And all he did to the guy was this, just went like that. And he was immediately weakened.
Wow.
You know, I mean, the arm as strong as it was, wham, 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 you know, and then he just goes like that to the guy, and it's like rock solid strong. And the guy's like, do the other arm, you know, and he just goes, you know, and weak, and then strong. I mean, literally, just that's what I do with my clients in the anger management class. I bring them up, you know, make sure they're really strong, and then I just go like that to them, and the arm goes weak, and their mind is blown, you know, and then I just go up like that, and then they're strong, and they're like, oh my God. So then after that, I said, okay, I was just doing that for effect. And then I zip down through them and then zip up, you know, for the testing. But it's really simple. And you want to just make it simple and easy for them. Tell them it's not about strength. And, you know, you could hold things, you know, like the oil and stuff. I like to muscle test, you know, muscle test it one way or another. I also muscle test this way. Like if I'm on a screen, looking down a computer screen, I'll be on the screen going, you know, oh, that one right there, make a note, you know, that. So there's so many ways of muscle testing. You could muscle test like this, just feel for yes and no, you know, you'll feel the resistance. But muscle testing is something that's so simple. It takes time. And Dr. Brad says he practiced hundreds of times over and over to be really good at it. And he's amazing at it. You know, I like the claw, the lobby claw, like lobster claw, you know, because I do it in front of groups of a couple hundred people. They could see me doing it like this, you know, from the stage. And then I'll bring up somebody and use their arm. But it's just simply like this, putting pressure there. Yes, and then no. Yes, no. Yes, no. Just like that. And it's really a simple method right there.
That's fascinating. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we've come to the close of our time together. And Gary, it's been wonderful to see you and have you here and be together again and share you sharing with us. And Steve, I was going to see if Steve might just, he's got a drum there, just maybe just play a little of the drum tones for us, just in closing, even, you know, 20 seconds, just like a blessing coming from all of us to you, you know, but everywhere too, and to earth too. So Steve, are you okay with that? You're muted here. Let me do this, has to unmute. There, now, all right, can we hear you? Can you say something?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, everybody.
All right.
So I'll play, but I wanted to say this during the Gary's toning, like I started feeling all the pain and anxiety when he introduced it. He was like, with all this stuff going on in the world, like there's going to be some, you know, some anguish coming through. And I started realizing, gosh, my problems are so small compared to all the suffering. And I just started bouncing all the toning healing that was going on straight out to the world. And so it really uplifted me and took my mind off my problems. And I think for me, that was a blessing because I've been working on balance. And this whole group in this evening has certainly brought me back into balance. So thank you.
Thank you.
And I will offer this. It's random, but in nature, there's really nothing random. It's all happening in divine order. So here's a blessing for everyone. And here we go.
Will you see if you take off your Bluetooth? I think we might hear it more. I think having your Bluetooth on might be interfering with the volume. Thank you.
I don't know how to get it on speaker though.
It's on, we hear you, but I think with the Bluetooth, it might have made a
Is
difference.
this better?
We'll see. Aw, thank you. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Gary. And when I send out the link to this video, I'll make sure I send out Gary's text and then the link if you want to, his Facebook page and all of that kind of information. And again, we love you. We bless you. We see you empowered to do great things. Gary, thank you for joining with us. And to all of you, the same. We love you. We bless you. We see you empowered to do great things. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you, Reverend Debbie and team. Love you all. Lots of love, blessing, good energy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Same. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Blessings.
Thanks, Debbie. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. So glad you could be here with us.
Thanks, honey.